Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our Friday night show. It's a different Friday night show tonight. We have a special um, tribute, 9/11 tribute show, because as you know, the 9/11 is Monday, right? Yeah, Monday. And so we are decided that we would have a 9/11 tribute for the show. Um, Tonight for our regular Friday night show. Hello, Sandra. Please go ahead and share to the Tigers, those Memphis State Tigers, Memphis University, Memphis Tigers, about our 911 show we're having. And thank you so much, Early Bird, and my coordinator. Thank you so much. Okay, so tonight we're going to have four veterans on stage. And may I just add that I'm a Navy mom, all right? So one of them, of course, is the heartbeat of the South. And y'all know that's not every heartbeat, right? Hello, Ken. How you doing? And you can call me Emily. All right. Now, let me just tell everybody, Sybil contacted me at the last minute. Well, not last minute, but around 3 or 4. And she let me know that she wasn't going to be able to be on the show tonight because she has going to be on set doing a movie tomorrow. So she's like cramming, trying to learn her lines before filming tomorrow, right? So let's start with the heartbeat of the South and bring him in. He's my every heartbeat of my heart, my son, and Navy retiree, Tim Harrington. Hi, Tim.
Hey, Mom, how you doing? How's everybody doing?
All right, I'm hanging on in here.
Great,
All
great.
right, thank you so much. And the other co-host that we have, of course, you know we cannot do these shows without her, is Kathy C.C. Carlson. Hi, Kathy, who's
Hey,
also, I
Kathy.
believe, an Army vet,
An Air Force vet. Air Force.
Air Force.
I come from an Air Force family. Yeah.
Okay, all right. And so then we have two other veterans who I guess, and but you know, James is part of our political team, and so he's going to be a panelist tonight, even though he's a regular team co-host on our politics show that we had last night. So I'm going to bring him in next before we bring our guests in. Okay. Hi, James.
Hey,
Welcome.
James.
Hello, James.
Hello, James. Hello, Mark.
He's
Hello.
waiting. Okay. How did Mark get in? I'm sorry, Mark. Hold on, Mark. We'll get you right back. Okay. Well, everybody's coming in. Okay, great. Thank you.
All right.
Kathy, I
Okay.
guess they don't want to waste
I
any
guess
time for this show tonight. Let's see who are we missing. We
I
missing
guess they
anybody?
don't. They're so famous. They're so famous. They
Yeah.
don't need introduction,
We got to
right?
bring in
But
Chuck. Okay, Chuck is coming
okay.
in. All right. So go ahead, Kathy. Take us away. Who are our special guests tonight?
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to thank Pastor Steve Lee. He likes to go by Pastor Steve. And
Mm-hmm.
also, I'd like to introduce Mark Zareski. Is that how you say your name, Mark?
Yes, it is.
Mark Zareski. Okay, perfect, perfect. And Chuck Tennin. Chuck Tennin of Big Fish Music Group. Hey, say hey.
Hey, I'm here
Chuck.
Hi,
somewhere.
Chuck.
What's
Okay.
up?
Hi, Mark.
Now Chuck
Welcome,
has
Pastor Lee.
Chuck is going to be our audio spokesperson here because he had a problem with
Yeah.
his camera, but they're good, doing good here, and as well as James. James also works for Big Fish Music as I do, which along
Okay.
with Chuck. So yes, and so and of course Tim and Emily. But it's really exciting because we got to talk a little bit with Pastor Steve, and he was telling us about his law background, law enforcement, And he also mentioned that he was at Columbine as well as 9/11. So, Pastor Steve, can you tell us a little bit about Columbines? Because that
Can
was
you
a
tell us who you are first?
Well, thank you
yeah.
Can
very
we get
much.
a little biography first, Kathy?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
sure, sure.
sure. And thank you, first of all, for being so gracious and inviting me on here this evening. I consider it a pleasure and an honor. And so thank you very much about that. I
You're
am a pastor.
welcome.
I'm a pastor, and
Uh-huh.
also kind of unusual. I had came out of a law enforcement background. I
Hmm.
worked out in California in law enforcement, both at the local and then at the federal level, and
Okay.
went from there into seminary and became a law enforcement chaplain as well as a pastor. And I've kind of followed that track for my whole life. And so I was at Columbine
Hmm.
and was there on scene. We were only 45 minutes away, so I was actually helping to evacuate the students and teachers when the tactical teams would bring them out on the Pierce Street side, and I'd escort them back to Leewood Elementary School. And of course, that was horrific. And then I was there as an ATF chaplain, a federal chaplain, and they made me their lead chaplain at Columbine. And so I was inside the school later with the forensic teams and had to help uh, put the bodies of the students into body bags in the library and carry them out. And I did have a prayer in there in the library for the workers and for the families, for the friends. And
Hmm.
yeah, it was pretty rough. It was pretty rough.
Yeah, that is rough. Well, I can imagine. Wow, I don't want to imagine, but yeah, I, we can we see it on TV, but things like that. But it's not. It's unimaginable to actually have to be there.
Yeah, TV doesn't show or give you all the sensory inputs like the smells, those kind
Right.
of things. And I don't even want to talk about that. It's horrific.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Okay. So Kathy had an amendment to that. She wanted you were asking him about another New York, wasn't it, Kathy?
Yes, yes. He would actually, Pastor Steve. We do have photos, which we will show shortly, of
Oh,
you at the 9/11 site, including the wooden cross. I mean, that's so surreal. So when people
Mm-hmm.
see that, I think they'll be able to feel just the whole impact of it. But can you explain a little bit about 9/11 and just, what happened? Like, did you start your day a normal day and all of that? Like,
yeah, I did. And 9/11 happened on a Tuesday morning. And I got up with my usual routine. I was getting my coffee and was about ready to turn on CNN. And my son called me from Florida. He was in Air Force training, and he went on to fly F-15 Strike Eagles. So you're an Air Force brat, huh? An Air Force person,
yeah.
Kathy? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And he
Yes.
called me from Florida. We were in California, so it was later in Florida. And he said, "Dad, turn on the news. Turn on." And so I did, just in time to see an airliner go into one of the second airliner go into the Twin Towers. I still don't know if that was a live shot or a tape shot, but obviously shocking. I knew immediately I'd have to be involved because I was a federal law enforcement chaplain, and so I knew I had to get involved. And I started out, if you remember, civil aviation got shut down for the first 2 or 3 days. And
Yeah.
so I actually started out at San Francisco International Airport on the United Airlines Flight 93 crisis team. That was the airliner that went down in Shanksville. And the destination airport was San Francisco from Newark. And so San Francisco Airport is only 50 miles away from where we were living. So I started there. And then United Airlines got me on one of their first flights out on Friday out to Newark. And then I went to Ground Zero and worked there for almost a month at
Mm-hmm.
Zero.
Wow. A whole month.
And
You know,
returned several times in the months that followed to do follow-up work as well.
were you there in January of the following year?
Um,
Because this happened in September. So
yeah, it was either, I think it might have been February that I was there, and I don't know if it
Was it
was January.
February?
I was there in February for sure.
Yeah. Well, the reason I asked is because um, my husband and I went to New York in January after the 9/11 tragedy, and we were, they had all the pictures there, and they were just at the bottom of excavating clearing away the debris, and we could see, where it was just dirt, and they still had the cranes working and everything,
Yes.
cleaning up, but and but it was so um, grim. It was really grim for me, um, and the the thing about it is that we were taking pictures, and I looked over there at the area. We wasn't just right up on it, but I don't know how many feet away from, because they did have it blocked off. I mean, roped off, but I could see the ghost towers, the ghosts of the towers, as if they were still there. And I have a gift; I can see premonitions and things like that. And so I asked my husband. I said, "Look, do you see it?" And he said, "I don't see anything." I said, "Well, look, you tall," because he was 6'5", and I'm like 4'8", right? So I said, "Look," I said, "Get closer and go stand on something. I need you to get a picture for me." And he said, "I don't know what you're talking about. I don't see anything." And I kept pointing to I said, "Look, just click in this direction, just this direction, that direction." So sure enough, he kept moving around till he finally got on something and snapped a picture. And do you know what? When we got home, we were up there for a week. When we got home, I got the pictures and everything developed. Back then, we didn't have the phones where, you just have the pictures on the phone. And the ghost towers were actually in the picture.
Hmm.
And
Oh
that's
my goodness.
unusual. Yeah, and
Do
you
you
know what?
still have it? You still have that photo?
I'm sure that I
No.
do. I probably even still
Wow.
have the film of it, the negative of it, because when I find things, and I'm a hermit. What do you call it? A hoarder. I put things away in a safe place and hide them from myself.
Oh,
But
okay. I do that too.
I know that I have it. But you know what? I just never had the time to go through where I think it is and pull it out. Because back then, we used to have these photo albums, and you put your photo in the photo albums, and you just buy
Hmm.
album after album after album, right? So I'm thinking that that's where it is in a pack, or in a package of the package that they put the pictures in after you have them developed at the Walgreens.
Right, right.
But I'm gonna
That
try to
sleeve.
find it. I'm gonna try to find
Okay.
it because I didn't think about it until
Yeah.
this morning.
Hey, Emily, did you happen to see the cross out on West Side Highway on the bridge abutment there? Did you see that?
No, I don't think so, because we rode the Greyhound there. But what I did see, I saw the statue of that they had put out of the soldiers with the firemen with the flag, the one that they still have.
Yeah. Yeah.
We did see that. And but yeah, it was just grim, and it was so quiet. Even that far after, it was quaint is not the word for it, Pastor. I know I'm talking about. It was a spiritual uh weirdness to it, to me. I
Mhm.
don't know. It wasn't anything good, and it wasn't comforting. I don't know what kind of feeling that it was that I got, but it was really it moved me. It really touched me. It moved me. It was if I had been there on the day that it happened, but I actually saw it on TV when it happened. I
Mhm.
was working for St. Jude Hospital then, and I was on my way off to work, And my husband come. He says, "Baby, come look at this." I said, "Look at what?" I got to get to work. And he said, "No, no, no, come look at this." And sure enough, I did not go into work that day because I could not believe it. So that's enough talking for me. Uh, we're going to take a break. I know I talked and we got to get our guests talking, but we've got plenty of time. There's no rush. It's only 7:16, and we haven't had time to share our show. I haven't had time to turn on, what is it, X now and not Twitter. I've got to take care of some stuff. So I'm going to play just one of our longer commercials, okay? And get that out the way so I can take care of sharing and get some viewers in here so we can get some conversations going. All right? Y'all stay tuned and we'll be back.
What is a VPN and how does it work? All about it in this video. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. It's a tool that encrypts your internet traffic and hides your IP address and virtual location. What's a VPN used for? A virtual private network significantly boosts your online privacy and security. Thanks to its encryption, third parties cannot spy on your online activity. Even your internet service provider cannot see what you do online. A VPN also allows you to overcome internet censorship. All your traffic is routed through a remote server, so you can access websites restricted in your country. Here are 5 cases when you definitely need a VPN. 1. You want to secure your online data. You need an extra layer of protection when you're online. Not all websites use HTTPS, a secure communication protocol where S stands for secure. If you're visiting a website without a HTTPS, the data you send or receive can be stolen by cybercriminals or other third parties. Unsecure apps also leak your data, but how do you know if the app you're using is secure? You don't. Apps are like black boxes, and it's anyone's guess if they follow the best cybersecurity practices. Since a VPN encrypts all your internet traffic, you don't need to worry about unsecure websites or apps. That extra layer of encryption makes sure your online data is safe. 2. You want to access blocked websites. If you want to use YouTube in China, VPN is the answer. It changes your IP address and redirects your internet traffic through a remote server, letting you browse under the cover of its IP and access blocked websites. Similarly, VPN lets you stay at home, at least virtually, even when you're traveling. You won't miss your favorite content when you're abroad. 3. You often use unsecure connections. Public Wi-Fi is inherently unsecure. If you spend a lot of time on public hotspots, in hotels, airports, or coffee shops, a VPN protection is a must. Without it, a cybercriminal can use many methods to spy on your internet traffic, steal your data, or inject malware into your device. When on public Wi-Fi, VPN must always be on. 4. You want to avoid unlawful government surveillance. Governments usually have direct or indirect access to internet service providers operating in their jurisdiction. It varies from country to country, but your government may use this access to actively track your online activity. Thanks to all kinds of intergovernmental agreements, they may also share this information with other countries. A VPN hides your online activity from all third parties, including your internet service provider and government. 5. You use file sharing services. Peer-to-peer services have many legal and valid uses. Distributing open source software or public domain videos, sharing large amounts of internal information in an organization, or even pushing service updates. And yet, internet service providers try to discourage their users from peer-to-peer services by setting bandwidth limits. Use a VPN. With it, your ISP can't see your traffic and limit your peer-to-peer sharing. Who can use VPN services? Short answer, everyone. A freelancer trying not to spill her latte on her laptop. A gamer avoiding bandwidth throttling. A traveler enjoying his favorite content on the move. A VPN is like a Swiss Army knife. You can use it depending on your needs. Whether you're a student overcoming unreasonable Wi-Fi restrictions at your school, or a business owner securing sensitive work data. P.S. When working remotely, always use a VPN. Business data is too sensitive to be sent and received without an extra layer of security. Or maybe you're a journalist working under an autocratic regime. Without VPN protection, your freedom or even life could be in jeopardy. The idea behind a VPN is truly simple. Everyone deserves a secure and unrestricted internet. By encrypting your traffic and hiding your IP, a VPN makes it a reality. What is an IP address? IP, or Internet Protocol Address, is a string of numbers that identifies your device when you connect to the internet. Without it, devices and servers couldn't exchange information. All your devices have a local IP address. When they connect to the internet, your router assigns them a public IP. Every website you visit can see this public IP and your physical location. What's more, online spies can look up online activity associated with a particular IP address. Your IP, location, and online activity are all important data points for someone who's spying on you and trying to make a detailed profile. When you use a VPN, you first connect to a remote VPN server, making it seem like you're browsing from another place with a different IP address. Your online activity cannot be traced back to you through your IP. How does a VPN work? When you connect to a VPN, it creates an encrypted tunnel that secures data traveling between you and the VPN server. To secure each data packet, a VPN wraps it in an outer packet, which is then encrypted through encapsulation. Your data stays safe during transfer. When it arrives at the server, the outer packet is decrypted. A VPN protocol is the key to VPN technology. It's a set of encryption standards used to create a secure connection between two devices. VPN providers commonly support a couple of such protocols. OpenVPN, the most popular of them, is used by the majority of VPN providers in the world. It's highly configurable and offers a nice balance between speed and security, as you can use it on both TCP and UDP ports. Internet Key Exchange version 2 is a tunneling protocol, usually paired with IPsec for encryption. It adapts well to network changes, making it an excellent choice for phone users who often switch between Wi-Fi and mobile connection. NordVPN has also implemented a next-generation VPN tunneling solution. That's NordLynx, built around WireGuard, the fastest tunneling protocol out there. WireGuard is insanely fast and lean. It's made just of 4,000 lines of code. Less code means less space for errors. It's easy to deploy, audit, and debug. NordLynx provides higher speed and security, and works like a charm. How to set up NordVPN? It's easier than you think. Once you download NordVPN and get the subscription, just open the app, be it on PC, Mac, or smartphone. Log in. Use the same credentials you used to sign up. Click to connect. You can choose the Quick Connect button, which automatically selects the most suitable server, or pick a location from the map. NordVPN adheres to a strict no-logs policy. Your online activity is your business. NordVPN. Online security starts with a click.
Smushy butt, mushy cushy tushy butt, skinny butt, spinny with your mini butt, roly butt, eat your mustacholi butt, bony butt, riding on a pony butt, achy butt, drop it on dad's heady butt, naked butt, stop. Put a Huggies on that butt, cause only Huggies is the #1 fitting diaper with a curved and stretchy fit. So no matter what kind of butt you got, we got you, baby.
Okay. It's so weird. The studio was still playing the commercial, but I see on Facebook that we're back live. Okay, so Kathy, did we lose Kathy? Oh, wait a minute. All right, Kathy, I'm putting you back. And Chuck.
Hi, I don't know what happened, but yeah.
I don't either.
Here,
I didn't touch anything. I left everybody where they were.
something came, some
I
commercial
believe it.
came in.
Yeah.
Yes.
No
I
worries.
didn't know what
Everybody's
was
back.
happening.
No worries. You're back, Chuck. Okay. All right. Kathy, take it away again.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess we can talk about Chuck. You have we have uploaded some videos of yours on
Yeah.
9/11. Can you just explain, Chuck, what the videos are about?
Yeah, let me tell you what they're about. Jim and I went to the 9/11 Memorial Museum before it opened. And before that, way before it was all done, Jim and I put together a video, 2 videos. One of them was, I've got it in my hand here. One of them was with a song called Heroes to Us. And The interesting thing about that is I was going to read you something, if I can find it here. Okay. Um, Heroes to Us was a song that fit the video, and we packaged it up for the 9/11 Foundation. We got to go there, and one of the lines I'd like to read you in the song was one line said, "Remember those who paid the final cost. God took them home, and not a soul was lost. And we wrapped our flag so tight around us the day our lives turned upside down." That was one of them, called Heroes to Us. The other video had "I Thank You," and that was about the survivors thanking the people that helped them. And you know, the packaging that we did on the songs were dedicated to the victims, the survivors, the rescuers, and the heroes, and all those who lost their lives. But in "I Thank You," an interesting line I'd like to read to you. Um, it said this, "And when I looked up and held you in my eyes, it was then I saw there was someone standing next to you. Guess I'll call him God." And that's from the people that were buried in there in the darkness. And when they saw that in the song, it just, like a whole choir just comes up and really brings it all out. And we got to go and visit the museum. Another thing, there was the only survivor of the 9/11 was a pear tree. And when Jim and I went to the 9/11 Foundation, I got to go up. They had the tree. It was the only survivor. And I got to go up and touch it. And, I cried. That was the only survivor between the two buildings that fell down. And that was captured on our, we did one of the, both songs were in a CD packaged up, "We Must Remember and Never Forget." And it was a 2-song memorial tribute. And it shows the firemen on one side and the police and rescuers on the other side looking up with 2 American flags at the top. And both buildings were in white silhouette and the pear tree standing in the middle. And on the back, I could never understand when they showed these lights beaming in the sky. And you could see New York, but you couldn't tell where they were coming from. And so on the back side of the illustration, we did what was that new building that they built, and then we built the ponds, and those beams of light were coming from the ponds, and we got to go and visit the ponds, and it was kind of a neat thing. And so we got to share that. We got to do 2 songs there. And then Jim wrote another song called "Closure." And the neat thing about it is the video is one of the best I've ever seen. And the song was done kind of in a blues form, but you listen to the words and, it just makes you cry. But all 3 of those songs and those 3 videos, God, they're beautiful. They're really beautiful. They share something that we must remember and never forget. And it's an appropriate time. But the packaging, I wish I could show you. Maybe Jim has it there. But it's kind of neat when we designed the front. You see them all looking up at the top of the white silhouettes of the buildings with the American flag on there, the pear tree in the middle, firemen on one side, and the police on the other side. And then on the back, it shows that new big building. We were there when it wasn't even done. And we got to see where the beams were coming out of the center of the ponds. the remembrance ponds where the waterfalls are. And it was such a beautiful thing. We did that before the grounds in the museum were ever finished.
Wow.
And kind of a neat thing. And then Jim came up with Closure, which really kind of sums it all up. Such a beautiful, haunting, pretty song, but it makes you cry because it tells a story. It tells.
Okay, well, we're going to take a look at those videos right now. All right, here we go.
I thank you for your kindness. I thank you, one and all. Your sacrifice reminds us it all comes down to love. Stone out of luck that day, couldn't help but cry on out. All I know was swept away, so my heart just prayed out loud. And there I stood alone, naked for the world to see me. Never thought the time would come when all the good seemed gone, when nothing felt quite right, and the darkness ruled the night. That's when I count my tears, waiting for the sun. So I thank you for your kindness. I thank you, one and all, for reaching out to find us. Thank you for your love. And when I looked up and held you in my eyes, it was then I saw there was someone standing next to you. Guess I'll put these times behind us. I thank you for your love. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for your love. I wanna thank you. I wanna thank you. Thank you for your love. sacrifice reminds us it all comes down to love. Stone out of luck that day, couldn't help but cry on out. All I know was swept away, so my heart just prayed out loud. And there I stood alone, naked for the world to see me. Never thought the time would come when all the good seemed gone, when nothing felt quite right and darkness ruled the night. That's when I count my tears, waiting for a sun. So I thank you for your kindness. I thank you, one and all, for reaching out to find us. I thank you for your love. And when I looked up and held you in my eyes, it was then I saw there was someone standing next to you. Guess I'll call him God. So I thank you for your kindness. I thank you, one and all, for reaching out to find us. I thank you for your love. I thank you for your kindness. I thank you, one and all. Gonna put these times behind us. I thank you for your love. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for your love. I wanna thank you. I wanna thank you. Thank you for your love. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you,
For all of us that have lived in fear, the evil is no longer near, 'cause closure is what we're needed. For all of us who lived in sorrow, let's look towards a brighter tomorrow. Closure is all we wanted. The sun washes away all our tears. It helps us with all our fears. The sun brings brighter skies. It helps us with all our cries. Sunshine and brings closure to our lives. We finally come to a cross in the road. It's time for hearts to lighten their load. 'Cause closure is what we're needed. Baby, now we can hear and bring closure to all we feel. 'Cause closure is all we wanted. The sun washes away all our tears. It helps us with all our fears. The sun brings brighter skies. It helps us with all our cries. The sun shines and brings closure to our lives. We the people of the USA remember what happened on that day. We will carry on. We will never look away.
The sun washes away
The
all
sun
our
washes
tears,
away all our tears.
helps us
It helps us
with
all
all
our
our fears.
fears.
The sun brings
Sun brings a brighter
Brighter
sky.
skies. helps us
It helps us
all our
with
goodbyes.
all our goodbyes.
Wow, that was amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, that was amazing. Mark, what did you think about that? And where were you when 9/11 happened?
Well, on 9/11, I was actually home. I'd been retired for some time, and
Mhm.
somebody called, a friend called on the phone and said, "America's under attack," and
Mhm.
I couldn't understand what they were talking about. I said, no, 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 turn on the TV, turn on the TV,
Mhm.
and so I did, and that's when I saw what was happening.
How did you feel?
Shocked at
Me
first,
too.
uh, and at the time the towers hadn't fallen yet, so I just kept thinking in my mind how terrible it was going to be if they collapsed, and before I knew it, they did.
Yeah, my husband kept telling me that they weren't going to fall because of the steel. And I could see it premonition. I told him, I said, baby, those buildings are going to fall down. I said, oh, that's pitiful. I was like, why aren't they flying around with helicopters with water or something? And then those poor people, that were trapped, and you could see them jumping out of windows and everything. It was just, oh, I couldn't believe it. Tim, where were
Yeah.
you on 9/11?
Um, Actually, I was getting ready for work that morning. Uh, prior that night before, I had my TV on a movie station. So by the time I realized what was going on, at first I thought I was watching a movie. I guess somebody had to change the channel during the night.
Mhm.
And when it came to me that this was real, I mean, I was just dumbfounded.
Yeah. And
I
as a
couldn't-
veteran, so many years after, how do you feel about that?
I feel that it's still a lot left to do. I don't think that all of the families agree with how things were handled. So I think it's still more work to be done with that.
I mean, about the attack itself
The
from a
attack
veteran,
itself,
from a
I have
veteran's point of view.
I have mixed feelings about it.
Hmm.
Because I did some research and things and whatnot, and went
Hmm.
down a couple of rabbit holes.
Don't say nothing about those rabbit holes. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and but despite it all, my heart goes out to the family and the loved ones
Yes.
of people. Yeah.
All right. And Pastor Steve, we know that you had to go, but when you first heard about it from a spiritual point of view, what were you thinking? What was going through your mind?
Well, my first thought, I was kind of a reaction because I immediately knew who was responsible for that attack. I knew it was Osama bin Laden and his group of terrorists that had done that. They had
Hmm.
engaged in other acts of terrorism in the years previously, and
Hmm.
they were the most likely cause of that. And my first reaction, because airliners don't accidentally fly into skyscrapers on a
Sure.
beautiful clear day, and
Right.
two airliners fly into both skyscrapers at the same time, and then the attack on the Pentagon and the other things, but especially with that airliner, my first thought when I turned on the TV and saw that, I thought Osama bin Laden is a dead man. That was
Hmm.
my first thought, and I confessed to that. And it was an observation more so than a judgment, uh,
Hmm.
because I knew that he had been responsible and his people, and that
Hmm.
eventually, and it took quite a while, but there he was found. But
Were you angry?
of course I was. Uh,
Okay.
I have had a lifetime of dealing with the results
Hmm.
of people committing evil acts
Right.
against innocent people. You know,
Hmm.
I'll give you one short example.
Okay.
One evening working at Ground Zero, and then I went to get a break at the Red Cross Respite Center, and I bumped into a group of four firefighters who were just getting off working the pile, they called it, and
Hmm.
they were coming on into the respite center, and one of them was holding a teddy bear under his arm that he had found in the rubble.
My goodness.
And you know, people went to work that day. Families, they sent off people to work just for a regular day. The
Hmm.
people who were killed were of every nationality, every color,
Yes.
every
Yes.
faith, everything.
Hmm.
And evil doesn't care. Evil just wants to destroy. And
That's
so,
right.
of course, any person would feel angry at that kind of evil. And
I wasn't myself. I understand,
yeah,
but I
and,
wasn't. I was more angry at our government as to why they were not aware that this was going to happen, that this
well,
was going on.
of course, there are always things that we look back on, and we should, and try and
Hmm.
figure out why and how these things could have happened. And of course, there's always things that could be done, but we must never lose sight of who was responsible directly for those things.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
while we analyze and discuss what could have been done maybe to help prevent it, but
Hmm.
to always focus ultimately on who did that, and then ultimately, of course, on Satan, who wants to
Right.
destroy everything good, including people, including God's work, and
Hmm.
he's viciously evil.
Of
Uh,
course.
Perpetrators, these terrorists, they're the ones that flew those airliners into those buildings.
That's true. I don't want, and this is the thing about different faiths or religions or whatever you want to call them worldwide, is that everybody think that their religion is the right religion, and it's always been religion that's been the main ingredient that causes wars, death, and destruction. Why do you think that is, Pastor?
Well, I have to say that I would urge caution in thinking that way. And of course, there have been religious wars, right? We think of the 30 Years' War, the 100 Years' War, the wars between Islam and Christianity, all those kinds of things, right? But also ask yourself this question. World War II, which is the biggest worldwide war of history, it was started by Nazi Germany and Japan. And
You're right.
they were not started as religious wars. In
Yeah,
fact,
there are a few exceptions. That one is an exception. Hitler was just evil.
yeah, they're
Hmm.
like Adolf Hitler specifically denied. He set himself up as God, basically, and
Yeah,
that's.
he thought of himself as his God. You're right.
And then you think of the greatest death tolls of history in the Soviet Union, the old Soviet Union, and in communist China, and millions and millions of their own citizens were killed by
You're right.
atheistic regimes.
You're right.
Sometimes it's kind of the popular narrative to say, well, it's religion that causes a lot of this stuff, and sometimes it's true, but not true divinely given religion. That's never that way. It's perverted.
Right.
It's perverted religion that we should say when that does
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah,
Uh,
thanks for the clarification. I probably should rephrase that because that's exactly what I meant is
I
they
think,
use
I just think you have to be kind of careful about that and recognize.
they use religion as an excuse for what their causes are.
Remember the words of Jesus, okay?
Mhm.
Jesus said, "My kingdom is not of this world." Remember,
Of
Jesus,
course.
he told Peter, "Put away your sword."
Yeah, he did. Hmm.
And to say that Christianity is for instance, a religion of war or strife, does not line up with what the Word of God, the Bible, says about it. So, forgive me, I'm a little biased. I wear a collar.
No. I was not specifically pointing to religion. I meant whatever their belief is, spiritually or religiously. For instance, like Osama bin Laden, them, they, and that group and culture of people, they believe in Allah, and they believe that that's Allah's way, and Allah is right, and Muhammad, and you know, uh, so that's what I meant. I probably didn't explain myself correctly, but they seem to use some type of reference to their religion or their beliefs or their spirituality as excuses for destruction and death.
Well, it certainly is the case there, isn't it? In that specific incident, there's no
Right.
doubt about that.
So, Mark, let me ask you: Did after 9/11 happened, were you afraid that something like this would keep going and happen? Where did you feel that we were in danger and that this was going to happen next week again somewhere or something like that?
Well, I did think it was possible, but the biggest thing, being a veteran, was being concerned about how this could escalate into a much larger problem, meaning,
Yeah,
or even a small war,
yeah. That's right. You're a veteran in what service, Birch?
United States Marine Corps.
Marine Corps. Hoya, hoya.
I also served
That's right.
in the United States Navy Reserve.
Uh-oh, my son's Navy. All right.
All right, Tim.
Tim is tired from Navy. So, and you were on the Navy Reserve. Did you go on a ship?
No, I was a CB.
Okay.
That's construction battalion.
Okay. Well, Tim was on ships. He traveled all over the world.
I never deployed when I was in the Navy, but I put almost 2 years in Vietnam.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, James and Chuck, that song, both of those songs were so beautiful. And I noticed, though, that those first two videos were almost exactly alike. And but the closure one is specifically, to me, the most unique one. And the filming was is just spectacular. So, and the song, like you said, it was kind of bluesy. Who was the guy that's singing the song?
What was that?
Who was singing
Who
the
is
song
singing the
on Closure?
Oh, on the song. Second song didn't play right, and I guess she didn't play the third song, but the first one was Rhonda Black sang that song. But the one you
Yeah, we
really
played the Closure on Closure. Who's singing the one on
Closure.
Closure? Yeah,
Oh, that was uh God, I've got to remember the name. Jim knows it.
Jane.
While he's
Jim,
thinking
Jimmy.
about it, can I bring up 3 quick points?
Yeah.
Jim and I had the privilege to go to the museum in Albany where they stored all the things that they saved from the tragedy at the 9/11 site. And 2 things that I got to see there. One,
Hmm.
they found the engine off the first plane between the 2 towers, and
Oh,
they put it in the museum to hold it. And you know what? Chuck Tennin got to go up and touch the engine that fell off the first plane. The second thing
wow.
they had there was a video that people never saw. And that video ran on and on and on. And they had a conveyor belt for days. Rings, watches, wallets,
Oh
fingers,
my
everything
goodness.
going on that conveyor belt. It was so sad to see that. They had that
Yeah.
at the museum. But I got to touch the engine of the first plane. And the other
Yeah.
thing I wanted to say was, Reverend, uh, this may not be correct, but I understand that we lost more Americans in the Civil War than in World War I and II combined.
I think
I
that is
agree.
correct.
I agree. You're right about that because I'm a history buff. I'm a
Yeah.
history buff, a
I,
philosophy buff, and
I have another one for you.
I
Okay,
okay,
studied the Civil War.
the Civil War was the most costly United States war
that's
because you had
true.
casualties on both sides being Americans. Of course, the Confederate.
Everybody. Yeah.
But
Everybody.
the other thing is that we lost more people to COVID than we did in the Civil War.
Really?
Yeah,
Hmm.
we lost 1 million Americans.
How many did we lose in Civil War?
Probably about 700,000, give or take 100,000.
Oh yeah.
We lost
So
more in COVID.
you mean just in the United States we lost 1 million, not worldwide?
No, just in the United States.
Wow, my goodness.
You know, there's
We need to remember that when we think about that disease and how it got started.
Oh yeah. How do you think it got started,
I'm
Pastor?
not gonna. I'm not gonna do that. Not
I
gonna.
was trying to catch him.
Not gonna do that. I'm not gonna
I
sucker.
was trying to catch him off guard, but I couldn't sleep one day.
I'll tell you.
It seems like I tend to get in trouble if I ask questions.
Oh wow.
Well, I would just like to say that I was terribly disappointed in President Biden. He's not going to be there at the service. And I think if it's not a matter of national security, each president has shown up. And to me, it's unacceptable.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you. I agree with you.
Yeah. I wanted to say that September 11th is still not a national federal holiday. But they do call it Patriot Day. And the schools and businesses remain open in observance of the occasion, although memorial ceremonies for the 2,977 victims are often held on that day. So they'll be having a ceremony on Monday. And Tim, you say the president is not going, huh?
He will not attend this go around.
He's not going.
Wow.
But he celebrated Labor Day.
Yeah. Go
So did
figure.
he give a reason as to why he's not going? I'm just curious.
I haven't seen any. But like I say, if it's not a matter of national security, he should be there. Um, all the other presidents have done it, and it makes a statement
Yeah.
when you see the presidents there to stand
Yeah.
beside those people, yeah, and their families.
Yeah. So, Mark, where do you live?
Just just a few blocks from Jimmy, Waterville, New York.
Okay, so y'all will have a ceremony there for sure, right?
I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything official at this time.
Oh, really? What about you, James? What, you live where? James?
I think he's frozen. James, are you frozen?
Oh, you talking
Yeah,
to
you
me?
might-
Oh.
Chuck, that's
No,
fine. Yeah.
James.
You know, there's another thing too. You can ask Jim this, James. We on the both of those songs that were packaged up, we donated about $20,000 to the 9/11 memorial.
Oh, that is so
Twenty
sweet.
thousand dollars.
Wow, we gotta give the audience give them a round of applause for that. That is something else. That's beautiful, beautiful, indeed.
Yeah.
You know, one thing in this country that's going around that people talk about, the sad thing in this country in the direction about remembering things, about doing the right things, what's going around is the new motto, nobody cares. And they should care. Our government should care and people should care.
Yeah, I agree.
This is America. And you know what? The land of the free. And people that fought and died for this country in a lot of wars and a lot of disasters. But you know what? People need to care again. And they stopped
Yeah.
caring. And all you see now on the news is kids getting shot. You see people getting evicted, losing their mortgage, smash and grab robberies,
Oh yeah.
hard things. You know, you start thinking people are afraid to go out of their house. And you know what? They should remember. They should remember what this country was made up of and what it should be and what it is. And they should pay more attention and do the right things and support this country. God bless America.
I agree. And we can have an applause agreement on that. Mark, you connected with Big Fish Music, right, too?
Excuse me?
Are you with Big Fish too, right?
I was what?
Are you on with the videos? You with James and
Yes.
Chuck, right?
The two videos that were like heroes, and I thank you, Jim, and in the original packaging. Jimmy did all the artwork and things of that nature, and he and I both compiled the pictures and actually created the video with the music background. Chuck supplied the music, him and his associates from California, and Jimmy and I put it all together.
Oh, okay.
And for closure, I forget, composed the music.
Oh, you're a composer, huh?
No, I'm just a guitar player. But
I didn't get to hear the whole thing. It kind of broke up, but there's a part.
I was wondering about that because it was playing. It didn't break up on my phone because I watched the show.
Okay, because there was a line in there. It said, what did it say?
About joy.
No, it said there was a talking part that said, "We the people of the USA," and it was done so beautifully.
Well, it didn't break up on here, but I did see it.
Remember, it's all about remembering.
Yeah,
and the
so
other
you can
song,
watch the
Heroes,
replay, you see.
we actually had in the song "Heroes to Us" is we in the recording, kind of when the tower one of the towers went down, and it portrays that, and then it talks about the heroes that joined together and did what they had to do. And I don't know why. I guess it didn't get to you in time, but they all had a message. They delivered a message that was uplifting and inspirational, but it came down to we must remember and never forget.
Yeah.
It's been quite a while since 9/11 happened, but the impact, more people should pay attention to coming together and supporting the things that mean something. And you can't forget 9/11. 9/11 was a terrible thing, a very terrible thing. Just like now in Maui, that's a terrible thing. People need to care, because you're talking about lives and property and a lot of things. It's very sad when there's a disaster.
It very is.
Yeah. I would like to throw something in there. One of the things that really makes me angry, when I did some research, I come to find that the pilots that did crash into the Twin Towers were actually trained on our soil on how to fly these planes.
Yeah. That's not any different than the Chinese owning so much property over here in the United States now, and most of the property that they have bought in the past 3 to 4 years has been near our military bases. So now I knew about that a whole year ago, and the government claims like that just now finding out. But then that's a whole nother politics show that we'll discuss that topic on. Right now, we're going to go take a break, and when we come back, we're going to go around for closing comments, and we're going to let our guests go because
you have pictures you wanted to show?
We have pictures, Emily. You're supposed to
that's
show.
right. Okay, let me put them up. Yeah. Okay. Let's do that right straight away. Hold on. We're going to do that.
I like the hat. The hat. Look at the hat. Yeah. Wow. That's
Look
amazing.
at what?
The hat that Reverend Lee just held up from 9/11. Can you hold it up again?
I didn't see it.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It's nice. Okay, so let's look at these pictures right quick. Discuss those. Then we'll go to break and come back with picking the screen. Entire screen. Come on. Hopefully it's picking the one. Let's say it's sharing. Okay, let's see if it's coming up. It'll be coming up somewhere.
Would you like me to give you a commentary on the pictures?
Yes. They're coming up now.
Yeah, I see the one. Okay.
The two side by side.
You see?
But one of them is Chuck. Yeah, one of them is Chuck at the memorial. But the other one.
The other one is the one I'm talking about.
I got all three of them down.
Yeah.
I'm scrolling down. Just tell me about these two right here, and then we'll get to the third one.
Okay, which one now? Me with Danny Collins?
What about these two?
Yeah, Pastor.
Okay,
the one on the right.
The one on the right. There I am. You can see the word chaplain on the back of my jacket, and that's the hard hat that I was wearing at the time. Okay. And Danny Collins.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see that.
Okay, do you see it, Emily?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I do.
Okay. So we are.
I was trying to make this bigger. Let's see. Hold on 1 second. I think I can do it from the studio. Let me try. 1 second. I want to make it bigger or smaller. Okay, hold on. Got to take it down. There we go. It's a little bigger, right?
Nope.
A little. Well, okay.
The same size?
Yeah.
Looks bigger to me.
Yeah, well, we're good. Okay. We good.
Well, we good. We can see it.
We can see it. Let me just give you a commentary. Okay, that cross, it's actually laying down now, but it had stood up. If you go to the other pictures so that you can see where it stood originally. There, that one right there. Stay right there on that one. Okay.
Wooden cross.
That's the way it was found in Building 6. Building 6 was an 8-story building next to the North Tower at Ground Zero, and it had an underground parking. And when the North Tower collapsed, it collapsed the interior of Building 6, and it left standing that cross-shaped steel beam. It was not wooden, it was steel. The steel was an H-beam and an I-beam, and it broke at the joint.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I thought it was wooden.
Yeah.
No,
It's steel. It's steel.
It's steel I-beam and steel H-beam, okay? It was part of the bearing wall inside Building 6. The rusty colored steel is from Building 6. The pinkish colored steel in the backdrop there on the left, that's from the North Tower. That sheet metal, the sheet metal that looks like a Good Friday shroud came from the North Tower and wrapped around the arm. That steel cross was actually part of the bearing wall of Building 6. That's how it was formed. When the walls collapsed, it broke at the joints, and that area there became a shrine for the workers inside what I call an amphitheater from hell. And so then it became a process of advocating for its recovery so it would not get removed because it had already become a shrine. So I went to Claude Wytek, who was the daytime supervisor for AMEC Corporation, and he was in charge of the north side of Ground Zero. And I said, Claude, we got to get that cross out of there, not let it get hauled off to Freshgills in Staten Island with the rest of the rubble. And he said, yeah, you're right. He says, I'm a Vietnam vet, and you're right. We have the wall, and we need to preserve that. So he talked to his people. And then one evening, I and a couple other chaplains talked to Ken Holden, who was the director of design and construction for the city of New York. He said he had a meeting with Mayor Giuliani the next morning. He called me at 9:05 the next morning after his meeting, short, brief question for Mayor Giuliani at 9. And he said, Giuliani says, go ahead and get it out. And I went on over there that morning, and Danny had already been appointed by Claude to get it out of there because they weren't waiting around. They were going to get it out. And so I chaplained that crew that got it out. And then the other pictures are part of that recovery process. Okay.
Wow. I'll tell you what, that is something else. Because it certainly did look like it was wood. And
and it weighs several tons. Here's the picture of me and Danny. Danny's on his little portable radio up there. You can see on the right. And and you can see Jose down there in the pit next to the cross. Okay.
That's where y'all getting ready to take it out.
Yeah, and there's a cable that they put on it, and then they hauled it out of there, and then we mounted on West Side Highway on a pedestrian bridge abutment that it had been damaged, and that's where it stayed initially. And now today it's in the 9/11 Museum, and if you walk through that museum in the tour, you can at the end of it you'll find that cross, and you find the names of many of the people who got killed on 9/11, and the names are written on by their friends and fellow co-workers like the firefighters and the police officers who wrote names of their buddies, their friends who'd gotten killed. And then they wrote their own names on it. And you'll see my name written on it, Chaplain Steve Lee, at the base right over the hand railing there. You can look down at the bottom. You see Chaplain Steve Lee where I wrote my name too. And I also wrote a poem on that cross. I also wrote a poem on that cross, a short one. You want to hear it?
Yes.
Call it,
go ahead.
Okay, it's a poem that I call From God's House, because the workers called Building 6 God's House because that's where they found the cross. Okay, and so I titled it From God's House. Fired new from dying flame, this living sign remains. Arms outstretched, embracing yet our avalanche of pain, to still, to fill, to heal again.
Wow.
Great.
That is that was short and sweet. Short and sweet, Pastor. Yes, I love it. That's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
Would you like to see my ground zero identification?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Let's put you on the spotlight so we can see it. All right. Oh, wow. Yeah. We can see it. We sure can.
Wow.
Okay, and you can see, remember the flag that the firefighters raised that you were showing?
Yes. Oh,
Oh, wow.
wow. Oh, my goodness. You have a lot of medals.
That's beautiful. Wow.
This was given me by the firefighters from that firehouse. And then we've got all kinds of things that other people gave.
Oh, that's a treasure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and so when you're showing pictures and the video, that's a lot of memories for me.
I saw that. Yeah. Well, let's go around. And I think we pretty much heard everybody's comments on everything. And I'll just start with thanking you. I always thank my audience first and my team for all the good hard work that they do and for putting up with me. And then I go and I thank all of our special guests for tonight. Mark and James, you almost a regular. Chuck and Reverend Stave. We thank you all so much for taking out time from your busy schedule. And we certainly hope that you have enjoyed being with us tonight. And so from Mark, your closing statement for us tonight.
Well, it's been a pleasure to be here and an honor. And there was a lot of information taken away from this. So it was a very good thing.
It was. Thank you so much. And let's give a round of applause for Mark, everybody. Thank you, Mark. All right, coming up next, Chuck.
Well,
Your closing comment. Yes.
Can I bring up one thing? When
if it's short, because we got to get out of here.
I got to visit the Pentagon, and I didn't know this, but when I parked the car and I went up to where the third plane crashed into the Pentagon, I didn't know that they had security and you're not supposed to take pictures. And I took pictures of that. But then when I was leaving, I talked to one of the captains of the security, and he said the freeway next to the Pentagon parking lot, that plane barely made the freeway and crashed into the lot and slid into the building. And he said that plane, if it would have been in the air a minute or so more, it would have gone into the Capitol and wiped out the dome. But anyhow, I wanted to say in closing that I appreciate being on your show. I hope watch it, and I hope people contribute to all the disasters, and they should support 9/11. And I know that in our company, Big Fish Music, the songwriters and artists we represent, we donate a lot of music to a lot of disasters and things because they care about people. I care about people, and we like to help. And we just did that for Maui. We sent a big package to them so they can hopefully gain a lot of donations to rebuild that. And it's great that 9/11, it's amazing that they put everything back together. It was a terrible thing that happened, but people must remember and never forget. And every person that lives in this country should think about those things. It may not happen to them, but it happens to other people, and it's very sad, and everybody should do their best to support all the disasters, which includes 9/11 and all the other ones. I think it's important that we care, and we need to care. And so I thank you again for having me on the program. I'm sorry the screen didn't work, but if
You're welcome, Chuck.
Projects you need some help, you let me know. In music, I'm a legend. I'm a professional voting member, executive of the Recording Academy, and also a legacy member of NAMM, which is the largest music trade show in the world, and I have a lot of awards. But I've always been active in music, and when something comes up, we're there to do a project that fits the need. And our catalog is built over 3,000 original songs and music now that people can
I've
use.
got an artist for you. I'm gonna send to you. Okay, he's the one that did my theme song for my movie. But we'll talk about that on another show. Pastor Steve.
One last thing. We're working on a 9/11 album, a whole album. And we're always looking for songs that would fit the album and come up with a great big album there and donate it to them and let them, use it to help restore things and help people. Anyhow, thank you again for having me on the show.
Okay, Chuck. I'll get back to you on that. Okay, closing remark, Pastor Steve.
Well, thank you so much, Emily, for having me on. I really appreciate it. And
You're so welcome.
God bless you, and that's official.
All right. Thank you so much. I always use a blessing. Tim, your closing comment.
Great show. Like to thank our guests again for coming by, spending time with us. That being said, man, my heart and my love goes out to the families of the loved ones that were lost, and keep them in prayer.
We will. James, your closing comment. James, are you still frozen?
He's frozen. I think he's frozen, yeah.
I'm so sorry.
But I can say something.
Your closing comment.
Okay.
Kathy.
Well, tragedy does help us to appreciate, our family and friends and, of course, God above. And, so tragedy does bring light to things we take for granted. So let's all try not to take things for granted and share love and help our fellow man and woman. Yeah.
I love it.
So, are you going to Amy's wedding?
I don't have the money.
Yeah, you do. Who are you?
I'm you from the future, and I just got paid.
And I'm Dave. I can get you up to.
Sorry about the studio. They thought we were gone. Okay, y'all. That's our time. Goodbye, everybody. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. We love you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.